Level 1, Ashigaru. Your feet are sore again. The straw sandals fell apart 2 days ago, and each stone cuts deeper than the last. There is mud caked between your toes, cold, sticky, and impossible to ignore. You haven't slept more than 3 hours at a stretch in weeks. Not since the last march. Not since the shouting started. You are Ashigaru, a foot soldier, a name scratched on a rice paper ledger in a lord's dusty storeroom. You stand in the dawn with 50 others, shivering as mist chills the back of your neck. The armor weighs heavy on your shoulders. It is snapped, patched, stained by a dozen men before you. The sergeant screams, you move. Always too fast or too slow. The bamboo practice spear feels too light in your hands, but the bruises on your arms from yesterday are still blooming purple. Drill again. Drill until your muscles shake, and your fingers lock around the shaft. You breathe the sweat of men pressed tight, rows upon rows, all faceless under the battered helmets. The food is gruel. You swallow it without tasting. Salt if you're lucky. Sometimes a stone in the pot cracks your tooth. There is no privacy here, not ever. You dig a trench with the others. You sleep in a line. You wake to the slap of a stick if you snore. Your only job is to not die. You learn quickly. Stay quiet when the officers pass. Keep your eyes on your work. When the older men whisper of bandits or skirmishes, you listen but say nothing. Some things don't need to be said. Sometimes when the camp is dark and the wind is still, you wonder what it's like to have a name that matters. Or a pair of sandals that fit. But for now, you grip the spear tighter. The Lord's banners snap above your head. Orders are coming. The line shifts. You move forward. Level 2, Hatamoto. Silk brushes your wrist. Not much, just a thread sewn into the edge of the sleeve. But it means something. The servants bow a half-second longer when you pass. You feel their eyes. Your own room, cramped but private, smells faintly of cedar and oil. The straw mat is new. You haven't woken shivering in weeks. You are Hatamoto, direct retainer. The Lord's own blade, or the Shogun's silent watcher. Your helmet is lacquered black, crest painted clear. The sash around your waist marks you for anyone with eyes to see. The men at the gate step aside when you approach. You walk past the line, no more waiting in the mud. Your armor fits. The plates are shaped to your body. Your horse stands ready, breath steaming in the cold. You swing into the saddle and the stable boy's hands never meet your eyes. Patrols are quiet with you in command. The Ashigaru keep their backs straight. The officers nod in greeting. You carry a real sword now. There is food, hot and simple. Rice, salted fish, a cup of tea that burns your tongue. You eat alone, sometimes with other Hatamoto. The conversations are measured, short. No laughter. Every word feels weighed. One mistake could linger for years. You know the stories. A careless joke, a glance too long, a rumor spun out of nothing. You haven't written home since winter. It's safer that way. Letters can travel further than intentions. You know the price of loyalty, a stipend, a roof, and the knowledge that your every action is watched by men who smile and say nothing. There are nights when the corridors echo and you stand alone, palms sweating on your sword hilt. You listen for your name behind closed doors. The Lord's trust is heavy. Your only job is to not disappoint. Banners hang in silence above the courtyard, waiting for the storm to break. Level 3, Gokenin. Dawn tastes like iron and cold sweat. Your boots sink into muddy ground as you walk the border of your holding, counting peasants bent over flooded fields. The air smells of wet earth and fertilizer. A crow laughs from the roof of a half-burned barn. You feel the weight of 2 swords at your side. Small comfort. You are Gokenin. Not enough land to boast, but enough to guard. Your seal holds power over these few rice paddies and the handful of thatched huts beside the creek. The villagers nod as you pass, more fear than respect. There are fewer coins in your chest than debts. Every harvest is a gamble against drought, blight, and desperate men with nothing left to lose. Reports wait on the desk. Disputes over water rights, a theft in the night, a child gone missing. You write in careful brushstrokes, slow and deliberate. Each word is a risk. One careless decision can become the reason for a vendetta, a summons, or a peasant riot. Some things don't need to be said. Your only job is to keep the peace and your own head. In the Lord's name, you carry out judgment. Sometimes this means standing silent in a smoky hall while a farmer sobs his guilt. Sometimes it means turning away when soldiers press too hard for extra rice. There is no privacy here, not ever. Every ear in the village belongs to someone else. You haven't slept through the night since the drought last spring. When your lord's messenger arrives, you bow so low your knees ache. The seal is heavy, the orders clear. Conscript men, collect taxes, prepare for the possibility of war. You ride out, armor creaking, sweat freezing under silk. Each visit to a tenant's house is another test. How far can you push before they break? The line between duty and cruelty blurs. You feel it every day. This is power. Not swords and battles, but paper and seals and patience. You know the laws they wrote that keep the peace. But the archives are silent on the cost. You stand in the silence, watching the horizon, waiting for the next order. The world feels smaller with every promotion, and the walls grow thicker around you. Level 4. Samurai. The tatami mats are softer here, but you still wake before dawn. Candlelight dances on lacquered armor. Your hands remember the calluses of wooden swords, the sting of training cuts reopened every morning. You bow to the household shrine, the ritual as automatic as breathing. The silence tastes heavier than before. You are samurai. Every gesture is observed. Your hair is oiled and tied, your kimono flawless. The clan crest is stitched over your heart, a brand you wear for life. Servants glide through the corridors, never meeting your eyes. You eat before the sun rises, rice and pickles, stiff as duty. Letters arrive in neat stacks. Petitions from merchants, warnings from the border, quiet threats disguised as poetry. You read each one twice. Mistakes are remembered longer than victories. Your lord's word echoes in your skull, and you measure every answer against it. Your days split between the dojo and the council hall. Sword drills stretch your muscles, burn through breakfast, leave you aching but clear-headed. In the courtyard, bamboo targets fall one after another, the only place you can release anything. In the council, you sit behind paper screens, listening to old men argue over land and river stones. Your only job is to nod at the right moment, to remember who whispers in which ear. Punishment is yours to carry out. You ride through the village with armed retainers at your back, faces hard as iron mask. A thief kneels in the dirt, shivering. His family watches from the shadows, hating you. You recite the sentence, voice flat. There is no satisfaction in justice, only the memory of what it costs. At night, you study the blade in your lap. The steel reflects your eyes, tired and watchful. You haven't seen your family in half a year. Letters from home pile on your desk unopened. You stand in the silence, reshaping fear into resolve. Outside the castle, drums beat. A summons. War rumors rise again. You secure the armor plates, knot the cords, and step into darkness, heart pounding with the weight of every choice behind and ahead. Level 5. Hatamoto Samurai. Your footsteps echo down polished corridors. The floorboards don't creak for you anymore. Guards stand aside, eyes lowered, hands pressed tight against their hips as you pass. You are Hatamoto. In the shadow of the Shogun, you carry his trust and his suspicion. The council hall smells of incense and sweat. You kneel on silk cushions, back straight, face unreadable. Scrolls pile beside you, messages from distant provinces and bitter allies. Your seal is heavy in your palm. One press and someone's life tilts. A tax is raised, a rival loses power. Sometimes a name disappears for good. Command is no longer about orders, but about whispers. You walk between pillars at midnight, summoned for secret meetings. Lanterns sway in the dark, voices low. Some things don't need to be said. Gold changes hands behind shut doors. Your silence is worth more than your sword. You lead men into battles you never chose. Their eyes search your face for hope, for fear, for any sign they won't die tomorrow. You speak calmly, words clipped and cold. Your only job is to not die. You repeat it before every march, every skirmish where arrows hiss past your helmet, close enough to taste the fletching. You stand at the shogun's side during parades, armor gleaming beneath the banners. Crowds cheer, but you watch the rooftops, searching for shadows that linger too long. There is no privacy here, not ever. Servants taste your food first. Letters arrive sealed, but you can't trust any of them. You sleep with your blade close, armor never far. The walls are painted with lineage and betrayal. In the quiet after victory, you count the wounded, the missing, the debts owed in blood. Wealth brings more eyes, more hands reaching for a share. You haven't laughed since your first execution. You haven't slept all night in years. Tonight, a messenger kneels at your door, breathing hard. Another plot, another faction, another order to follow or fail. Duty is a staircase with no end. Each step steeper, darker, narrower. Your fingers close around the hilt. You rise, ready for what the darkness brings. Level 6, Daimyo. You sit atop cold stone, high above rice fields stretching to the horizon. The air smells of pine and thunder. Thunder isn't weather. It's the sound of 1,000 men at drill, armor clattering, war banners rippling like wounds. Every dawn, peasants bow so low they vanish into the mud. You are the law here. Your clan's crest hangs above the gate, heavy as fate. Your only job is to not die. Couriers kneel at your feet, bearing news, failed crops, distant skirmishes, births, betrayals. Every village fire, every stolen bag of rice, every rumor seeps to you. You sign decrees with ink-stained hands, each order a stone dropped into a pond, the ripples spreading for months. If taxes fall short, you bleed the shortfall from your own retainers' pockets. If a bandit slips through the woods, you hang his head from the bridge. Justice is a blade, and the hilt digs deeper every year. Your sons train in the courtyard, faces blank as slate. Your wife's footsteps echo in empty chambers, soft as regret. No one speaks freely in your presence, not even blood. Late at night, when the lantern gutters, you read secret letters from the Shogun. A hint of rebellion in the east, a warning about your neighbor's loyalty. Each alliance is a knife sheathed in velvet. Smiles mean nothing. You know the laws they wrote that keep the peace. But the archives are silent on the cost. You visit villages under armed guard. Children stare, not sure if you are real. Elders bow and pray you bring rain, not taxes. Behind every door, whispers gather like smoke. Famine, flood, a broken oath. Any of these could turn your people against you. You haven't slept without guards at your door since you took this title. Tonight, the castle is quiet. The walls press close, thick with secrets. Lanterns flicker on lacquered screens. Somewhere beyond the paper walls, your advisors mutter, plotting your next move before the shogun's messengers arrive. Tomorrow, the council will meet, and the wrong word could drown a generation in blood. You stand in the silence. A shadow moves behind the door. This is power. Not swords and battles, but paper and seals and patience. You listen for the storm coming down the mountain. Level 7, Shogun. The floor is cold under your bare feet. Your armor, polished until it blinds, sits untouched in the corner. You rule the sword, but tonight you rule the quill. Paper walls do nothing to soften the weight of power pressing on your chest. Every breath tastes of incense and old secrets. You are the eye of 1,000 storms. Daimyo kneel before you, faces lowered, voices trembling when they speak your name. Your words decide wars, famines, the rise and fall of clans. You speak and an island trembles. Yet you haven't seen the ocean in years. The world beyond the palace turns without you. You haven't laughed freely since your childhood vanished behind a gate. Audiences blur together, petitions, feuds, alliances sealed with trembling hands. Scrolls stack high as mountains, each one another plea for mercy, another threat sealed in silk. You sign names away with a flick of ink. Sometimes you remember those names. Most fade like smoke between the rafters. Your only job is to not die. A tray of tea arrives, steaming and suspect. The taster sips first, eyes fixed on the floor. There is no privacy here. Not ever. Servants whisper in corners. Guards change watches twice as fast when rumors circulate. You trust no one, not even your oldest friend. Some things don't need to be said. At night, you pace polished corridors while the city sleeps beneath your banners. Lanterns mark the path, a trail of gold leading nowhere. You stare out over rooftops, thousands of lives depending on your next order. A riot in the south, a drought in the west, whispers of swords being sharpened in hidden rooms. Your face is carved into coins, your name etched into fear. In the end, ultimate power means ultimate consequence. There is no higher ladder to climb. The only way to fall is down. You sit in the silence, surrounded by everything, and know leadership is a blade that cuts both ways.